You guys, really liked my Sonic.EXE game idea, huh? Well, not to inflate my ego, but I also thought it was quite nice. But there are a lot of people asking a lot of things that I feel like I should clarify a lot, since I was kind of the king of vague posting in that last video. I was more just throwing ideas, my idea out onto the table, and seeing if anyone would be interested, because I know survival games aren't really the most popular genre in the world, but I thought it might have been interesting. This video is building off the previous one and adding ideas, so if you want, go watch that last one, because if you don't, then you might end up getting lost with this one, because in the last one I explained the general gameplay loop that I want, inspirations, characters, etc, etc, but you don't have to, just don't get mad at me if you get lost. Of course, as always, if you want to post suggestions or sign up to work on the game, everything is in the Discord in either Mobius' Purgatory suggestions or in my announcements. I've gotten some crazy dev applications, but anyway, the game is going to be a solo story survival game, meaning that there will be an actual ending. While a lot of the game will be managing resources, there will be an actual way to win. Without delving too much into the lore that I'm still concepting, every stage in the game, those being Green Hill, You Can't Run, Kind and Fair, Not Perfect, Mystic Caves, Angel Island, and Act 9, will all have their own Chaos Emerald, and the quest to get said emerald with a boss fight at the end. For example, an idea I'm concepting for Angel Island's emerald quest is that there will be 2 ruins for you to explore, one needing strength and one needing intelligence, to get 2 stone slabs to bring into the main ruins to have a boss fight, and every stage will be like this. I really want to force, party building to matter, you know, not just, oh, I chose my favorite character and now I use him. I want every character to have a reason to be in the game. Narrative, resource gathering, or otherwise. I want this to have a lot of strategy, right? Because you will not only need the resources to explore said stages, but you will also have to be able to do the trials or the quests of every stage. You will need to balance out foraging and day-to-day surviving with the actual quests and the storyline of the game. I want every stage to have an actual EXE in it, like a pre-existing one. I don't know how easy it will be to get permission for a lot of them, but how cool would it be to have 2011X as the Green Hill boss, where you just kind of attack him enough until he gets frustrated that you're not dying and just leaves. Or Colossus as the Angel Island boss fight with highly telegraphed but very punishing attacks if hit. Or even like a cool duo boss fight with Starved and Furnace on You Can't Run. There's a lot of things that I could do if I had permission for the fan EXEs that I do want in the game. The whole planned EXE list thing is kind of arbitrary, but they would all be cool to have. The ones that I would like to have in the game are 2011X on Green Hill, Colossus on Angel Island, Furnace and Starved on You Can't Run, No More Innocence on Not Perfect, some sort of really dangerous Tails doll of some kind. I don't want to say Tripwire, but some sort of dangerous Tails doll, OMT for Mystic Caves, and I don't know what EXE for Act 9 would be. Of course, they would all have their own in-universe lore as to why they're there, which I will get to in a moment. It would make sense in a moment when I get to the big bad. But here's the best part. In order to beat the game, you will need all 7 Chaos Emeralds, and then when you're ready, you can open a portal in your cabin to the final stage, Hill Gym, which will be the final test before the final battle. It will be a long, large dungeon that has puzzles, combat, and pretty much everything else you'll need and have to have used on your journey. But to balance this out, I will let you switch between the cast at any given point, as long as you're not actively in combat, but you will still be restricted to the 3-character party system. I don't know if I'm going to do a longer, more arduous 10-story dungeon or a more dangerous 5-story dungeon. I'm still concepting things, but this is how that's the basic loop of how it will work. If you do this, you've survived the 7 stages, you've beaten all the bosses, and you've gone through the dungeon, and then you're faced with the final boss. My EXE OC, because I have to have a self-insert in there somewhere. Anyway, his name is Tartarus, named after basically Greek hell, which I thought would fit the whole Purgatory thing. I don't have art of him, but he is really cool. He will not be an entity with real-world repercussions like Canon 2011X. He is based solely on the Sonic universe as a really powerful entity. In fact, he is the thing that gives the Phantom Ruby its powers, but was constrained to the physical limitations of said ruby, so when it gets destroyed, I don't know how yet, but it will get destroyed, Tartarus is freed, and he's infinite, but much more powerful. His boss fight will consist of 4 phases. The first phase will be the easiest. The second phase will either consist of fighting your fallen allies or clones of your party members if you haven't lost anyone. And the third will have both Tartarus and the clones fighting you all at once. And then the fourth phase will let you become Super. That's right, Super Sonic in Sonic.EXE to finally seal Tartarus away in the Master Emerald forever. And of course, that's where the game will end. I'm still not 100% confident if I'm going to do voice acting in the game or not, but there will be a lot of flavors sprinkled in, such as random character interactions, similar to how in KOTOR your party can just start talking at random, and you're put into dialogue. It'll be similar to that, and these conversations will morph depending on who's alive, who's dead, who still needs saving, what you're currently doing, what stage you're in, etc., etc. The characters themselves will all have moves. The combat will feel like an action RPG, or in short, like Diablo. I'm taking a lot of inspiration from a lot of different games. Of course, as I said previously, you'll be able to pause the action and be able to get your bearings, queue up attacks, etc. For example, Tails will have his arm cannon, but he will also have grenades and mines. To be fair, you also have to craft said grenades and mines, but they'll do a lot of damage, so, you know, balance. And fly, of course. So if you're fighting Colossus, you could be kiting around with Sonic, who will do less damage than, like, Knuckles. And you could, like, pause the game and have Tails throw some grenades, switch back to Sonic, and continue. Things like that. I want the game to be difficult, but not in a way that is unfair. Like, you have a lot of options for every situation, but that doesn't mean you planned for said situation. Every loss or death on your team will feel as though it was deserved. I hope. Like, I don't know, you lose Shadow because you brought him on an expedition that was more suited for Rouge or something. In hindsight, you should realize that you should have brought Rouge instead of Shadow, and that's why he died. Brutal, but fair is my motto. I'm not necessarily going to really add RPG elements. Like, upgradable stuff, not really. Like, upgradable stuff, a lot of the time, I just don't think it's necessary, because the game really isn't going to scale in difficulty, so you could theoretically try to tackle anything you want at any given point. The characters themselves are going to be the selling point, not the fact that you can upgrade Amy's hammer or whatever. I want to keep the progression tied almost completely to resource gathering. Like, you'll be able to craft better flashbangs, grenades, mines, things like that, instead of the leveling up system, where you just make every character OP and get rid of their whole downsides. That's literally the exact opposite of what I'm trying to go for. Lastly, I just want to talk about the overall feel of the game. You know, this is going to be a very gloomy, this is the end, but you're still fighting anyway type of atmosphere. Because you know that if you get comfortable, you will lose a character because you thought you were more prepared than you actually were. If you've ever played Black Ops 2 Zombies, then Mob of the Dead is a great way to describe it. I just feel like that fits the Sonic franchise better than the whole pure destruction thing, right? Like, it fits better than just 2011X saying, oh yeah, I'm God, and then killing everyone. You know, no matter how bad things get, the characters still fight because there's still hope, you know? Of course, the game will still be very gloomy and very atmospheric, but it won't just be, oh my god, this character died and now I'm depressed and, yeah. It'll actually still be, it'll still retain the hopeful nature of the Sonic franchise, while not straying away from darker themes, is what I'm trying to get at. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really have much more to say. A lot of the game has a rough outline, and we're planning on starting to make the game whenever the opportunity presents itself. As always, you can always sign up to work on it from my Discord, or give suggestions in my Discord through Mobius's Purgatory suggestions. It's in the forums. If you liked the video, liked it. If you disliked it, dislike it, subscribe, and join my community Discord, and I hope to see you in the next one.